Hello and welcome everyone to another Shenandoah University broadcast. Did you think we were done with the competition here at Shenandoah University? I'm sure glad we're not. My name is Avery Gieseman, and joining me on the desk is none other than Kyle Dexter. Yes, we are members of the Shenandoah Varsity Super Smash Bros. Team, and although the category is Smash Bros. Tonight, we're going to be viewing our Academy team for the first ever time on the live stream for this semester, and that couldn't excite me more.
Yeah, and it's good to be back here. It's been a while for us to have some Smash content here, and we've seen firsthand the development of this team, and unfortunately we haven't really had many opportunities to have them like on the spotlight on the stream, but thankfully during a very prestigious match we get to see what they're capable of to show everyone.
Yeah, the varsity team and the academy team have both been playing in NECC. That's the competition we bring you guys tonight. They're competing in Division 4 of the NECC, which does happen to compete at the same time as all the other divisions, so haven't been able to stream them because we've been having our NECC matches, but I could not be more excited to get these guys on the live stream because they have been making some great developments, as Kyle said, and it's just been so great watching them learn. I helped coach the team for the first half of the semester, and then nowadays we have Eliminate, who you may remember on our Rocket League team about a year ago. He moved over to Super Smash Bros. To help those guys out with their development through coaching and through playing a lot with the players. He's been instrumental in helping them develop, but tonight the team kind of has to take the bull by the horns, right? Because Nate, being in grad school, he has class during these matches times, so they have to develop their own strategy. So that's going to be the job of captain of the team, Chiliad, to really decide, who's going to take these counter picks and when. What's our strategy going to be versus Bowie State tonight?
Right. Pretty much it is a hard dilemma for them, right? So, like you said, Nate has a lot of grad school he has to attend to. So that kind of leaves the team like on their own devices to kind of figure out their own strategies. Well, Nate kind of just gives them, the building blocks, and it's up to them to piece them together.
And they've been doing a great job at that, let me say. This team has not been stagnant. They've been moving the pieces around, trying different starters, seeing what works. Since we haven't had a chance to look at the Academy season, why don't we go ahead and pan over to what their bracket has looked like this semester, because they have been going through a tear throughout this bracket. I mean, it's just been incredible watching them. They ended up at about 3-3, so average for their pool, but they had a lot of tough matches at the top with some players that gave them a big deal of trouble, but it ended up making the playoffs, which means they ended up in the top half of their pool. So ending strong is Shenandoah here. Although they fell to UNC Asheville, the number 1 seed, they did win their round 1, so that means that they end up playing a third place decider match tonight. And although the winner of this match doesn't move on to any further prestige, it's surely worth it because you do end up earning some nationals points towards, when we get to the spring, you earn more points, and that could earn you towards like a bigger bracket. So there's still prestige and stuff to play for here. And more importantly, they did fall to Bowie State in the pools phase. So Shenandoah looking for some revenge.
Right, Avery, and I can't remember how long ago that was Shenandoah playing Bowie State, but I can imagine, we've seen, like I said, we've seen their growth firsthand, and we've had our own, chances to kind of give them some building blocks ourselves. But I'm kind of curious to see what kind of adjustments they'll make. That they had some difficulties last time, and we'll just have to see what adjustments they make that we don't repeat those same mistakes.
Yeah, but with what I can remember about this specific match, it's not like they had one player that we just cannot overcome this big hurdle. And that was the case with UNC Asheville, which they had this Isabel player that we just could not figure out how to get in on. And with this team, it's about we're very a good depth team. We do have players that are around the same skill level. We don't really have one superstar that really gets in there and takes half the stocks. And I'd say that's the case for Bowie State as well. Although they have strong players like this Bayonetta that we're going to see that did a very good job of evading the attacks of the Shenandoah roster, some of the other players gave Shenandoah some trouble also in maybe some unexpected places. We saw Bowie State's hero player being able to match up really well versus Waneblade, which is a matchup that we really expected to go Shenandoah's way. I think if we can get some of those middle matchups to turn the face of the coin and be in Shenandoah's favor, that's really what's going to turn this crew battle around, rather than have this one player that really has an all-star performance.
Right, I think you make a good point. Like Bowie State's roster, from what we've seen, is mostly like well-rounded. Like you said, they don't really have that sort of like superstar that just does like most of the work for the team. They're pretty much like a team effort sort of school, and I think that kind of also matches with Shenandoah as well. Because yeah, we have a couple of strong players and like Chiliad, for example, but sometimes you can't do it all by yourself. That's what, Crew Battles are for, is a team for a reason. There is no I in team, as they say. Very corny a saying, but it's true. There is truth to those words. But, we are going to be starting relatively soon. I know we're entering the arena. We're putting all our details, getting those bands.
Yeah, I mean, we are getting ready to wrap into the match here, but just kind of an overview of what we're going to be looking for tonight. I know you guys haven't seen the Academy roster yet, so let me break it down for you. At that starter position, the team has really moved around a bit. Do we put in NN Gaming, our Little Mac player, who's bounced around between Little Mac, Lucario, even Sonic for a bit, and we've really locked him down this semester. It's like, all right, it's time that we really pick one character that we're going to be going in these crew battles and really try to develop that. And that's been the Little Mac for NN Gaming. That KO punch, such a vital resource for taking stocks at 20-30%. I mean, if you can land those KO punches, Little Mac can be devastating in these crew battles. But on the other side of that coin, we do have one of the worst recoveries in the entire game on Little Mac. So very volatile pick there, but one that's earned Shenandoah quite a few wins in the season so far. So we have NN Gaming. We also have Vixen on the Dark Pit. Has played a little bit of Incineroar as well, but has mostly stayed with the Dark Pit. That's a player you're going to want to watch out for their edge guards on. Those falling nairs, those down airs. Kyle here was working with Storm earlier, and those edge guards were just checkmating in those situations where he should be versus a character like Cloud, for example, which does not have the recovery to navigate around Dark Pit's hitboxes. And our final two players, we have Waneblade and Chiliad, if you want to go over those players for us, Kyle.
Absolutely, and Chiliad, kind of going through a little bit of a character crisis. It does look like we have, we put the nail on the coffin. We are locking in a character. While she does like to play Kai'Sa a little bit on the side, she wants to focus a little bit on the Aegis right now, and I think that is a great character to kind of lock in on, because that character just does almost anything you ever want. You have almost anything you want in an entire character, almost just through Mythra by herself, if you ask me. And we also have Waneblade, another our Pikachu player who we've seen some growth throughout the semester. I think he did really good during our Welcome Week tournament that we hosted way back when, aka start of the semester. But we've seen a lot of growth through him, whether it's through we've taught him to be more confident as edge guards, effectively using T-Jolt and finding those kills with Pikachu that otherwise be pretty hard. But it does look like we're about to jump into it, I believe.
We'll find out if this is a button check or not shortly. We have Vixen starting for Shenandoah on the Dark Pit. I believe it's going to be a button check to start things off. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. So we're going to make sure everything's all warm here. We got the Mario coming in from Bowie State. I'm going to hope that's a lock on that pick, and I don't just start rambling, because that is not a character that Shenandoah expected out of Bowie State. This is not one that they played versus Shenandoah the last time. So this could be a secondary pick from one of the players we see today, or this could be an entirely new player. But one of the ideas with Shenandoah starting this Dark Pit here is that Dark Pit is a bit like a Palutena. Mario sort of works the same way, where this character doesn't have any matchups that are oh no, they went this character, now we're really in trouble. No, Dark Pit kind of does okay versus really everyone, and that is what makes him such a consistent starter.
Right, this character is pretty much, you kind of think of him as Mario, a jack of all trades sort of deal. Doesn't have any major flaws, but also doesn't have any overwhelming strengths. Just kind of has a little bit of everything in a character, and kind of having that versatility kind of helps your case as a player in a crew battle, as you can be effective starter, you could be a somewhat effective counter pick depending on you were just talking
you can counterpick anyone.
Yeah, you were just talking about matchups he kind of does solid into anyone, so you kind of have a little bit of flexibility in that sort of vein, but you also have a solid end position, be a solid anchor, just because you just have all those tools to kind of just make yourself, you can't really predict where a Pit's player is going to go.
Yeah, and Vixen certainly has the movement to back that up. Also having the Guardian Orbiters, that Reflector makes that a great choice versus these really heavy projectile characters. Let's go over sort of what we're expecting to see from Bowie State, because that kind of gives us a deeper insight as to why we start this Dark Pit. So last time they started the Hero versus us, and we went Pikachu, Waneblade on the Pikachu, and we were really surprised that the Hero was able to take that matchup. That's one that I expect to go the other way this time around, because I feel like Waneblade really understood the mistakes that he made in that set and can really correct those. So we have that Hero pick, which their coach, Eliminate, definitely plays a lot of Heroes. They're not unfamiliar with the character. They just kind of got caught off guard in their first showing with the Hero. So we, want to maybe give Waneblade that opportunity to play that player again, because one thing that Waneblade may not want to see again is the Bayonetta that was really able to run away from him effectively. I remember they were on Kalos and just willing to ABK to either platform and really dodge away from this Pikachu, just making sure that the distance was always far away and making Waneblade really frustrated. So one of their tactics is to try to maybe match up someone like NN Gaming into that Bayonetta and be more proactive with closing that distance and really take those stocks early. We also saw an Inkling player from Bowie State. That's one that the team feels really confident all around on. The whole team really feels like they can take on this Inkling player, and that won't be too big of an issue, so we're hoping for that. And then the last player that Bowie State often anchored with is going to be their Toon Link, and that is a character that gave Chiliad a lot of issues on her Kazuya. But now with the Aegis pick coming out from Chiliad for matches like Toon Link, we're hoping that that is not a disaster matchup for Chiliad, but maybe the team would prefer like a Wayne or like Waneblade or an NN Gaming versus a player like Toon Link.
Right, and we'll just have to see kind of like how this like crew battle sorts of develops, right? Because like we just saw in the button check, we saw Mario, and that's a character that none of us were really expecting, right? So we could see some adjustments from Bowie State, right? So we could, like, one of those four characters we can mention, like the Hero, the Bayonetta, the Inkling, or the Toon Link. Well, we might not see one of those during this game one at the very least, or this could be an entirely different player, or it could just be like a secondary Mario that one of these players might have picked up just for fun, or just thought like this character is more for them. We'll just kind of have to see how that goes, but I do think like starting Vixen was a pretty solid idea.
Yeah, and as we go through the stage bands here, I do want to give a quick shout out to Kenza, our FGC player for Shenandoah, finishing 4th in CFGC Division 2. I don't know, you know more about CFGC than I do, but I think that sounds pretty impressive.
That's pretty good. I'm pretty sure it's his first time competing for
it definitely
CFGC.
Is, yeah.
So pretty good, as someone that has also competed in CFGC in the past, that's a pretty good debut season, if you ask me. Well done to Kenza, our resident Tekken player. Tekken, I've seen that game. I've tried it myself. It's not an easy game in the slightest. So you kind of have to give it up for that.
Yeah, fun fact about Kenza, he actually used to play on our Academy Smash team. Is like, you know what, this was a ton of fun. I especially loved my coach Igloo, but I'm going to move over to a Tekken, and he's doing fantastic over there. And what a great decision that's been from him. But let's get right into the Smash Bros. We got Mario, we got Dark Pit. We're on small battlefield, Kyle.
Right, and I do like this sort of like stage from both of these players, right? It's a very neutral stage, especially for Dark Pit, right? And for a character like Mario, you do not want, oh my goodness, that was pretty scary, but yeah, having those getting rid of those like triplats from Mario, just kind of to stop those kind of like combo extensions from like reaching all the way to the top of the blast zone. While small battlefield, Mario may still have those kind of like, as you see here, trying to get a lot of these extensions with those up airs, but not going to quite reach all the way just yet.
Yeah, and this Mario's playing very aggressive here from Bowie State. This is definitely not something that Shenandoah wanted to see at the start of this crew battle. You wanted this new player to come in on this character and be average. You don't want them to come in and start swinging with these up air, up tilt combos on the small battlefield platform. Vixen's going to have to adjust, utilize the range of Dark Pit to keep this Mario at bay. But when they're using tools like that up B out of shield to get out of that shield pressure, that's going to be tricky for Vixen to get around. As they pressure the shield very strongly, though.
Right, and the S-Smash clanking with the Fireball, Vixen having the right idea, but unfortunately the Fireball was just in the way, a thorn in the side. You will great forward getting the poke,
Ooh.
Great forward smash. Unfortunate misspacing from the Mario, from Killer Wayne. And you see Vixen trying to kind of just hold on to his lead, and he's landing. Oh my goodness.
We are up smashing.
Playing with fire with those up smashes, right? So, and yeah, catching the jump with the back air, back to even stocks.
Yeah, if you're not getting punished for the big headbutt that, I mean, Mario's being protected by that hard hat there. I mean, why not just do it again? We know these Mario characters, they love their strong up smashes that can catch the opponent trying to land on them. So Vixen's going to have to keep that in mind when they try to pressure from above, which is certainly one of the strengths of Dark Pit, but you don't want to do it at too high a percent. Well, this Mario does know how to kill there. Great DI there, gets the red sparks, but gonna live here on the Dark Pit. Has to get around the flood. These Guardian Orbitals not gonna do a whole lot to get around this, but is gonna make it back to the ledge. Yeah, gotta avoid that up smash here.
Right, and what a read attempt, I'm gonna assume, from Killer Wayne, and yeah, just catching the unsafe forward air from Vixen. Killer Wayne up a stock, getting some nice extra credit on the way.
Yeah, this is not a bad position for Vixen at all. This Mario is off stage. The arrow goes just below the Mario, and he's now off stage. But yeah, I mean, Mario here can die to a few different kill confirms of Pit. That down air and that big hammer, the electroshock, can be great starters into some big kill moves. So Mario has to be careful here. Certainly wants to hold this stock to give Bowie State a big advantage here, but definitely is not out of the woodwork. These mid percents are almost arguably a bit easier for Vixen to navigate than the low percents, because you don't have to worry about quite as far of platform conversions, and up smash doesn't kill yet. So although the floods are coming here, Vixen's not yet too scared of dying.
Right, and you see Vixen trying to find an open here, tries to get the grab, not quite anything off that down throw, but getting walled up by these back airs. Vixen trying to fight back with these dash attacks and jabs, but getting thrown off stage once again. The flood pushes him away, but tries to get a nice 2-frame with those dash attacks. Not going to quite get it.
And now you got to be careful if you're Vixen here, because now the up smash will kill. So you have to be very careful with how you pressure this Mario, and a beautifully spaced back here there around the small battlefield platform. That's what Vixen was looking for.
Right, and that's a
jump!
That's a jump cut. You have to go out there. Oh no, maybe Vixen not quite catch that. Killer Wayne did use their jump, but maybe just did not recognize that, because otherwise he definitely would have gone for a different pathing off stage there. And wow, just such evasion from Vixen, and
that's good. Do it!
Wow! Oh my goodness! Just what a
the sour spot down air, pressuring Killer Wayne off stage. That's exactly what we're talking about. That's what this Dark Pit does. Yeah, I outrange you on stage, but I have multiple jumps while I'm off stage, and I can twirl this neutral air. I can throw out this forward air. I can use this down air, which covers the entire space below me. And although I missed the spike, I force you to hit a tech. The Mario does not quite have the timing, and it's going to lose a stock at 70%. What a devastating opening for Bowie State.
Right, and just one amazing turn up from Vixen, right? Around the second half, he started losing, his footing in the game, right? And after finding that crucial back air that took that stock, he was able to get these openings and get more confidence in going off stage. And like we saw with that, that off stage interaction, just that Nair just catching the jump or the up B, and was not ready to detect that. And you can't really blame him, right? On Wi-Fi, your muscle memory for your timing is going to be a lot different, no matter like how good or bad the connection is, and especially with a multi-hit move like Dark Pit Nair, you're going to have a harder time trying to tech that.
Yeah, and if you remember earlier in the battle, I mean, this Mario was always struggling off stage. Like, Vixen got that first kill off the Mario going for the wrong direction on up B, and it was a free forward smash for Vixen. So, I mean, just trying to navigate recovering versus this Dark Pit character proves difficult. Although the Mario was able to really lock down the onstage gameplay, I completely agree with you. It was that back air that really turned things around, because Mario really wanted that up smash at like 110% to secure that 2-stock lead for Bowie State. But as soon as that back air landed, and then Vixen started getting some percentage on board, 20, 30, 50%, now Mario's off stage, you're going to start panicking, right? You don't just want to go to the ledge anymore. You want to go extra low, try to evade this Dark Pit. But Vixen getting out there, going through the fireballs with the aerials, just setting everything up perfectly for a Gimp there. That's what we love to see out of the SU Academy team.
Right, and something I want to talk about too is, confidence, right? When you play one of those characters that kind of like lacks that sort of like cheese factor outside of like, what we just saw, you kind of need that confidence to kind of just play to the best of your ability, right? And we saw in that second half, I think a big factor of that was the confidence that Vixen got throughout the match, right? Maybe like around the halfway point, maybe he was starting to lose a little bit of confidence in himself, but once he found that crucial back air, maybe he thought to himself, okay, maybe I can do this, maybe I can still win this match. And, things happen. What he just did was I think if you ask me, a big like example of just confidence boosting.
You are certainly correct, Kyle. I couldn't have said it any better myself. And as we move on in this crew battle, that one stock that Vixen was able to keep for the SU Academy team was really huge, because now we get to see the next player of Bowie State, and then we get to choose our counterpick against them. That's one of the things that's so powerful about starting with Storm, is that they don't really have any of these really bad matchups that we can get. So if we're able to squeak one of them out, like we just saw, now we get to play this counterpick war in our favor. And, you have to decide right now, if you're Bowie State, is this a fire that we have to put out with something like a Bayonetta, something like a Toon Link? Or can we, put in something like an Inkling or a hero that maybe was better into like Waneblade last time? So there's a couple different options that Bowie State can go, but one thing's for sure, whoever they select now will get counterpicked by Shenandoah in the next battle. So although the stocks may be even, the character counterpicks are prevalent. So I'm really curious to see who Bowie State goes for here, because so far we've seen nothing but surprises.
Right, and you make a great point in terms of like, getting that first like set of momentum, because like you said, Shenandoah now has counterpick advantage. No matter how this next game goes, no matter how many stocks Vixen may take off this, whoever comes in to take him on, Shenandoah will forever, for at least one more game, have the counterpick advantage, right? Like we saw.
Until someone else wins a 3v3, right?
Yeah, exactly. And we just got word we're gonna be seeing a Yoshi. That's
Bowie State might be throwing out the playbook here. Although taking a 2-0 victory over Shenandoah last time they met, they now have decided to send in the dynamic duo of Mario and Yoshi, two very similar characters who, both have a very evenly spread matchup chart, can do a lot of great things. But, I mean, this is certainly a strange pick, an unexpected one from Bowie State. I have no idea if this is a new player or an existing player that we know about, but they have chosen to send them in versus Vixen.
Yeah, it's a similar story with Amar. Like I said, like we don't know if that's like a new player or just like someone else just picking up the character, right? And it's the same thing with this Yoshi. And like, it's definitely a surprise for all of us, and it's funny to see another Yoshi in Collegian, like when we're not the ones competing, because you are the resident Yoshi of the room. So it is kind of funny to see another Yoshi on the screen that is not my friend Avery here.
Yeah, you'll have to tell me if I should take any notes from this Yoshi. As we move to FD, this is certainly a pick I would imagine that Vixen doesn't mind at all, not having to deal with the platform combos of Yoshi. Certainly his tech chases are very prevalent on this stage, but Dark Pit having the range advantage and being able to edgeguard Yoshi pretty well, you're not going to want to give him those platforms to mix up the landing. So I really like the stage selection here from Vixen in this matchup.
Yeah, and like we said, like no matter what happens here, like if Vixen doesn't like take all three stocks, like we could still see a big like counterpick like opportunity coming from Shenandoah. Like who could we send in versus Yoshi? I know like Aegis could be pretty difficult for Yoshi. I've heard from you that Little Mac could be a little troubling for Yoshi, a little strange.
I was actually thinking about this question, Kyle, because if you think about Shenandoah, we really don't have a strong Yoshi counterpick, do we? I mean, we have Little Mac, which I agree is a bit strange, and we'll elaborate on that if we get there. But I mean, this Dark Pit, you would definitely prefer to take a stock here, so that if we have to play a matchup like Yoshi Pikachu, like Yoshi Aegis is obviously quite good, but that locks Chiliad into that Aegis pick. So, we'll see how this goes, see how that kind of develops, because this dinosaur may pose a threat to Shenandoah. We'll have to find out. That Mario showed me things I didn't expect. I thought that was pretty powerful. Let's see if this Yoshi can do the same thing.
Right, and you see these combo starters from both of these players, the F tilt into the up smash, and all right, yeah, definitely an interesting style of Yoshi we've seen. We do see a little bit of aggression from Vixen. You're trying to get something started with a grab into the down smash, excuse me, down throw into neutral air.
Yeah, if you're used to watching perhaps my Yoshi style, it's pretty slow. This Yoshi is definitely not afraid to get into Dark Pit's space and throw out some aerials, and why not? If you can get them out before Dark Pit gets out his disjoints, then certainly he's going to be in for a heap of trouble. These up smashes are a fly-in. I mentioned that Mario characters have very strong up smashes for getting the opponents to stop being in the air, and that's another move that you simply cannot jump versus. That Yoshi down B is going to take that stock, and this Yoshi has only taken 60% thus far. Shenandoah does get the counter pick, but I will say, in especially collegiate, this Yoshi character is not very common. You may think that this is a pretty strong character, and you're correct, but this is definitely not one that you're going to see every day on these teams. So it's going to be up to Shenandoah to figure this out and use all the tools at their disposal. They have a bit of a niche pick. Do they know that Little Mac may give Yoshi some trouble, and do they know why? Because certainly there's counterplay on both sides, so we'll see where that goes. This is a very aggressive Yoshi. So as we're seeing what Shenandoah selects, which is going to be Chiliad on the Aegis, I think that makes a lot of sense. This dinosaur is flinging himself at you. Why not go Mithra and get those sword attacks out there before he can get there?
Right, I kind of do agree with this pick, right? I do see, making the hard decision of having to force Chiliad on the Aegis, kind of locking them into that character for the duration of this game. But I do think this is probably the best choice in the long run versus a character like Yoshi, because we talked a little bit about how annoying Yoshi Little Mac can be, but Yoshi still has some great edge guarding tools.
Absolutely.
So I think just it's a little more consistent with Mithra.
Does that come into play versus Aegis though?
I don't know, because Aegis also doesn't have a great recovery either, but certainly better than Little Max.
I would have to say, if I had to make an assumption here,
a very bold statement, I know, to say that Aegis has a better recovery than Little Mac, but Aegis isn't entirely helpless off stage, right? Mithra can still swap people away to try to get too close to with a forward air. They have, down B, which is essentially another air dodge, right? It's very, very quick, very fast. Not much ang lag to it. So if you see Braddock get swung at, you just swap to Pyra or Mithra, and then you just swap back, and then you just swing back. It's a pretty strong option, if you ask me.
Certainly, and I think some of those combos that this Yoshi was going for versus the Dark Pit, you go for certain routes on Mithra, she's simply going to foresight through it, and you're going to be in disadvantage. So I hope this Yoshi, knows what kind of combos land, which ones doesn't. I hope Chiliad can capitalize effectively on this Aegis, because this is certainly a new character for Chiliad. Bowie State has never seen this Aegis before. No college has ever seen this Aegis before, because this is a new project for Chiliad, and I think it's a great choice for her because although her best character is the Kazuya right now, one of her goals in Smash Bros. Is to make the varsity team, and with Willie being as strong of a player as he is, that Kazuya spot, we just simply don't want to lock Will on Terry permanently. That Kazuya pick is just so good in so many matchups that if Chiliad wants to continue developing as a player, I think the Aegis pick is a great place to start. And if you are going to learn Aegis, I do think that Yoshi is one of the easier matchups for the character. Just a great spot to pull her out.
Right, and exactly. I do think we selected Hollow Bastion, so we're going to jump right into the action. 3 stocks, no STs required. We're just going to jump right into it. Nice attempt from Mithra, having probably some of the best neutral in the entire game, if you ask me about it, because she just has the best burst options in the entire game, right? Just an insane forward, insane dash attack while having some of the best movement in the entire game. And foresight, just like that. We're just talking about that, right, Avery?
Yep.
Just the use of foresight is just so strong, and getting the kill.
Yoshi's a heavy character, Kyle, and he just died to 90 after the hit. Yoshi has to be so careful recovering versus Mithra, because his nose will often poke above the ledge when he's trying to recover, and that Mithra forward smash is devastating for him if he does not know the down B tech to snap instantly to ledge.
Right, you see Riley a little confused on how to approach this Aegis, right? Because you see a lot of his buttons just getting stuffed out, because if you really think about it, Mithra is kind of like Sheik with a sword, but can actually kill more consistently.
Oh, it poked through the shield!
Yeah, So, I know you said you've seen this yourself numerous times, Avery, but, down B is, normally supposed to be a shield breaker move, but in order for the shield to actually pop, the stars that come out when Yoshi slams on the ground, they have to hit the shield as well, but most of the time they just kind of don't. So it's kind of like inconsistent in that vein. We do see a lot of extra credit coming out.
And it's again, Kyle. Oh, the
my
egg
goodness.
just barely connected. Chiliad almost got out a second forward smash. And like you can see, I mean, Mythra forward smash is probably not in conversation for one of her best moves. But in this matchup specifically, I mean, it's just so fast and Yoshi's nose pokes so high above the ledge that at times it's just like a, I get this smash attack now and you kind of just have to hold that. Yoshi getting some of the value off of his weight here. But we are staying the Mythra on Chiliad here. Oftentimes you'll see Aegis players swap to the Pyra in these sort of kill scenarios, but with how these Mythra forward smashes have been landing, I'm not surprised at all to see the Chiliad Mythra be the biggest star here.
Right, and we've seen a lot of like these attempts to kind of catch this Yoshi to an aggressive landing with those forward smashes and the up smashes as well, like we just saw. This is how Mythra gets her stocks, right? Normally doesn't have the best kill power, but she has some pretty strong smash attacks, like we've seen with the forward smash and the up smash, a bit later, but the forward smash is really the main move on how she gets those kills, but she gets those by just putting you in a terrible situation and just catching your landing with her incredible speed.
Yeah, and Chiliad has been doing an excellent job at getting out of these Yoshi combos with the foresight. That's certainly a big proponent of this matchup, and you want to avoid this up smash here as Chiliad does effortlessly. If that Yoshi starts charging that up smash, that's just saying, hey, you don't have to land here anymore because I'm not going to chase you anymore. And Chiliad gets a free landing there, briefly goes the Pyra, but realizes that Yoshi is only at 40% and thus is going to opt for the better speed, the better frame data of Mythra. And I think that's going to be a great choice here as another down B comes out from Yoshi, but it does not fully connect. That shield is staying safe for Chiliad, and these juggles are just keeping this dinosaur in the air. How do you land, Kyle?
I love just waiting there and trying to catch the aggression with the forward smash from both these players, and really trying to get a little something started, trying to get another stock off before going down here. And we do see Chiliad not willing to give it up that easily.
And staying the Mythra here, even at the ledge, is really valuing this speed, really valuing this foresight here. Those dash attacks just cover so much space so quickly. Like, it's just so hard to justify going to Pyra, especially when a Mythra up smash will just take out the dinosaur at 130 here. And that's that kill power of Mythra. If you can manage to land her smash attacks, then that speed and that foresight, you start wondering, man, is there any reason to switch at all? Certainly not versus the dinosaur in this spot.
Right, and I think that game is just the biggest example of just how oppressive of a character Mythra is, right? Relic on the Yoshi looked like almost helpless for a lot of the match, just trying to find out how he can even try to catch Mythra to even begin with. And even once you get in her face, you have to deal with her amazing frame data, right? We've seen a lot in this game. We do see sword characters that might not have the best frame data, so it's kind of weird to see a character with a sword like Mythra also having incredible frame data.
Yeah, and Yoshi was trying to be aggressive, right? I mean, he was going for these really big options, these charge up smashes, these down Bs, like, let's try to catch these jumps like I was able to do versus Vixen's Dark Pit. But with Mythra, I mean, Chiliad was able to not really have to jump. She was able to really stay grounded and really punish these Yoshi recoveries with really big moves like Mythra forward smash. And that's not something you're going to get every game. Sometimes you're going to get the forward smash. Sometimes you're just going to get an extended ledge trap from getting like a down tilt forward air. And we were seeing a lot of those exchanges as well. Things like up air juggles at the beginning of the game from Mythra. This Yoshi was like trying to, close the gap with these really big swings. But I mean, at the end of the day, he just was not able to get around the speed, the disjoint of Mythra, and especially get off ledge. I mean, certainly one of the harder parts of the matchup. And when you can land those up smashes with Mythra, you start wondering where you're supposed to land as Yoshi.
Right, and the question is what are we going to be seeing next, David? Because no matter the amount of predictions that we made, we've been wrong. We're 0 for 2 right now.
Yeah, surely the Peach comes in next, complete the saga, Yoshi, Mario, Peach, maybe even the Bowser if they really try to go the villain route here. But, I mean, Shenandoah is in a beautiful position now. I mean, now we have a solid lead versus Bowie State. Do you recall if Chiliad even lost a stock there.
She lost one.
She did lose one stock. So yeah, a 2-stock lead for Chiliad here on the Aegis. And if we're looking at characters that Bowie State has shown Shenandoah before, 2 of them are Hero and Toon Link. Like, I definitely don't want to try those matchups versus Aegis.
Definitely not.
So you might want to try like a Bayonetta perhaps. Get some, maybe try to run away from this Mithra. Maybe try to gimp her off stage could be a strategy from Bowie State, but we have just not seen the same playbook out of them. And I actually did not mind this Mario or Yoshi gameplay whatsoever. So the fact that Shenandoah is keeping up with this new strategy of Bowie State, I think bodes really strongly for them in the future of this crew battle.
Right, and it's kind of hard to say who will go in now, considering we just saw 2 completely new characters that we haven't seen in our previous match with them. But I guess it is safe to assume that we can see one of those characters again, considering that Bowie State is on the back foot now. We are up 8 stocks to 6, so we are expecting. I think we should expect one of those new characters, maybe like the Bayonetta, like you mentioned. You did mention that she could try to run away from Mithra a little bit, try to play a little bit of whiff punish game. But how can you do that versus a character like Mithra, who I can't even say has the best whiff punish game in the game, because there are characters like Sonic there, which is kind of crazy to think about when you look at a character like Mithra and you're like, how does she not have the best whiff punish in the game?
I think here's what can happen, Kyle. If we get into a state where, versus this Yoshi, we were able to get away with a lot of smash attacks. If this Bayonetta is able to force the Aegis to go for these really big moves, then maybe that will be the opening to whiff punish rather than these tilts and quick aerials. But, it's just kind of the story kind of tells itself, Kyle, because we are now seeing Incineroar go in versus the Aegis. It's just completely impossible to predict Bowie State here. But I must say, this matchup on paper may not be what you expect.
Yeah, tonight's just full of surprises, Avery, We were just talking about, okay, now we're going to be seeing one of the characters we are familiar with, right? No, we're going to see another curveball out here. We do see this Incineroar coming out from Super What? Yes, that is indeed a question, because they do have the period in their tag, but now I'm just as curious as the rest of you. We did not see this character previously.
And I will say, Kyle, that the Shenandoah Academy team has a bit of a troubled past with this cat here coming out from Bowie State. Incineroar is certainly not their favorite character to go against. And that just, kind of goes into the kind of play style of Shenandoah here, is that this revenge move can be tricky to deal with. Incineroar kind of disincentivizes you from attacking him, yet he has some very powerful attacks himself. So it's going to be up to Chiliad here to utilize the speed of Mithra to really make this cat guess. But the up throw, this character has some very, very strong throws, and Chiliad needs at least 1 stock here.
Right, with the character like Incineroar, who is a grappler at heart, but also still having some crazy boxing options and nair, forward air, back air, Darkest Lariat in his neutral B. And we do see here, somehow Superwood's figuring out how to grab a character as fast as Mithra, right? And I guess he does have a little bit of that extra armor on the startup of the move, but we do see just catching Chiliad off guard with these big buttons.
And Chiliad would certainly prefer Kazuya in this matchup. If you ask her, they'd be like, man, I really didn't want to go Aegis into Incineroar. Kazuya has such a simple gameplay versus this character. You simply go for the Hell's Gate, and he's just a sitting duck off stage. But that's just the nature of crew battles. When you choose to counterpick that Yoshi with Aegis, now you have to deal with the consequences. And this Incineroar is going to get the back throw there. That is indeed going to tie up the crew battle 6-6. But Shenandoah still in the lead here as we have the counterpick advantage. We have Little Mac and we have Pikachu to go up into this Incineroar. And it may not be as simple as you may think. If you think that Pikachu versus Incineroar is a free win, you may think that that's a very simple solution. But as we just saw, this Incineroar was able to absolutely just take over the match versus Mithra. So do you send in another quick character that does, light hits? Or do you send in the Bruiser and really just get this cat out of here with some big punches?
It's so hard to say, considering on paper it does sound like Pikachu would be a much better pick here, because he's just so much quicker. He's very very small, can very easily combo and edge guard Incineroar. But the thing with Pikachu is that his neutral kind of revolves around T-Jolt, But if you're Incineroar, that's just free revenge stacks. And we saw before, I think like almost like 15 seconds that match versus Chiliad, he was able to, get like a revenge like side B perfect timing and hit her for like 70%. I don't even remember what
it did 70, yeah.
I don't even remember like what he even like countered to even get that sort of like revenge stack, but like it just goes to show like how like quickly Incineroar can get like those high damage like increases from the revenge.
Yeah, we are going to see Waneblade come in here from Shenandoah, and I'm going to have to say for the first time I'm a bit shaky on this pick, especially mentally from Wayne. I have a lot of trust in him as a player. I think he's been developing really great on this Pikachu, but like you said, things like that revenge can sort of disrupt his game plan, and I think that's one of the reasons that Dwayne actually would really prefer to avoid this matchup. Like, if you ask him, do you really like going against Incineroar? He's like, not really my favorite. So although the matchup on paper here, Pikachu and Incineroar, obviously Pikachu, some of the best edge guarding in the game. Obviously Incineroar, some of the most exploitable recovery in the game. You think, put 1 and 1 together, you make 2. This Pikachu dies super early to any revenge attacks, and you end up donating revenge to Incineroar a lot of the time with these T-Jolts, as Kyle alluded to. So it's going to be up to Wayne here to utilize his speed that Chiliad wasn't able to, and really gimp this Incineroar off stage, if at all possible. As we move into this match, we will be anchoring the Little Mac here, and that may just be scary in of itself. That should motivate Waneblade to take some stocks.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know which side should be scared. I don't know if it should be Shenandoah's side or Bowie State's. But I guess we'll have to find out for ourselves. Let's jump into this match back on PS2, trying to get a feel for each other, trying to try to throw like one of these T-Jolts, trying to see if he's willing to revenge it. And we do see a revenge come out, and trying to be very slippery from Waneblade, and can it caught with that jab. Not doing too much though.
Wayne playing very aggressively here, and that's exactly what I want to see from him. Not disincentivized from the aggression through the T-Jolts getting revenged. And that's going to be big for opening up this player to some grabs from Waneblade. If Waneblade is able to get the grab ends up removing the revenge from Incineroar. So if Wayne can perhaps get those Incineroar revenge stacks online, he may open himself up to some grabs here, and that would be a big deal. And although the percents here are quite even at the beginning of this game, this is disadvantageous for Shenandoah because Pikachu does die much earlier. Even a Lariat at 100 almost killed cross stage.
Right, and amazing catch with the up air. Waneblade was not ready to DI such a move.
Yeah, that's definitely a tricky one from Incineroar. One of his faster aerials, and certainly a big juggle tool for him. As you see Wayne going for these T-Jolts off the stage, just trying to snipe a recovery. Perhaps a bit of fear from Waneblade, and that's not what you want to see if you're SU. You want to see him being confident and getting out there with those edge guards, with these aerials, especially when you push Incineroar off stage here. Very close on that one. That's what I want to see from Waneblade, because if that connects, that'll be a dead Incineroar.
Right, you have to be very careful with the cross chop from Incineroar though, because if you miss-space your edge guard attempt and you get hit by the downwards hitbox, you will be spiked instantly, and you will be in a world of trouble.
Absolutely, Kyle, and trying to get the dash attack here, but finds a down smash. That's going to even this game up. 54% onto Waneblade, but Pikachu can rack up percent in a hurry as Waneblade tries to play a bit of hit and run here, going for the T-Jolt into quick attack, just being like, hey, if I can't beat this cat up close, maybe I'll make him catch me. And I think that's a very decent idea here for the Pikachu. I mean, what is Incineroar supposed to do if this mouse is just bouncing all over the stage?
Yeah, very slippery indeed. And I do like his opportunities to kind of just throw out one of those T-Jolts in a way where Superwood can't really throw out any of those revenges in a very safe way. But we need to see a lot more grabs coming out from Waneblade. Not having a lot of confidence in these grabs, just like that. You see a big grab here, trying to catch something with that Thunder. Not sure what.
I think he wanted to like air dodge in, but definitely going for a bold play there. Realizes he's at high percents and may need a bit of a trick here to take the stock, but a revenge Lariat is certainly going to take Pikachu's here. And now Wayne starting to think, what went wrong here, but you got to get that out of your head, because at the end of the day, your goal was just to take one more stock, get NN Gaming to a point where he only has to take 4, because 5 is certainly going to be a much taller task with how this Incineroar has been moving.
Right, and very strange situation for Wayne Blade here. Not going to quite get the kill with the forward air, but trying to retreat to center stage and getting caught by this jab.
Great reverse edge guard from
Wow.
Wayne Blade. What awareness to know that after the side B, he could get a back air, Kyle. This is exactly what he's been working on.
Yes, we were even teaching him this like all week so far. He's going to get more, more confidence in his edge guards, and we just saw just incredible reversal from Wayne Blade, recognizing that he Super Bowl burned one of his resources to kind of get it off. But I'm not gonna lie, Avery, that was a pretty nasty jab check.
Yeah, I mean, although Wayne Blade does come out of this, only taking 2 stocks, I just could not be happier that he landed like a perfect checkmate reverse edge guard off of what I would say was actually a good play by the Incineroar. If Pikachu gets hit by that side B there, he dies. So, Incineroar, evaluated the risk, is like, I'm gonna go for this, instantly dies for it, and that's Wayne Blade's awareness there. So, the end of the day, Shenandoah does end with the deficit here, and that is definitely not what you want to see, because Shenandoah has been leading this entire crew battle so far, and Bowie State has not gone a single character that Shenandoah has expected so far. So, definitely a strange spot for Shenandoah, but one they can certainly win from.
Right, and Super Bowl put in a lot of work for Bowie State, right? Turned from a once really not the most desirable position, having to go 3 stocks and having to fight 2 more stocks of Aegis.
He's taken 5 now.
Yeah, it's taken 5 now, and it's really hard to say if it can take any more. But we've seen his willingness to go out there to try to go for some of those edge guards with those downers. So we're kind of to see how NN Gaming will respond to such a thing. As I know we were kind of in his development phase, we're trying to see if we can mix up his recovery routes a little bit. We understand that it's Little Mac. We understand that his recovery is not great and, kind of hard to kind of mix it up. But Little Mac does have options. He's not completely useless. He does have a couple of options that can kind of mix a few things up.
Yeah, one advantage for NN Gaming here is the fact that Incineroar can't go that deep off stage. So NN Gaming kind of has some time to figure out what route is optimal. If he gets sent out super far, it's like, okay, do I jump here? Do I side B here? Do I air dodge here? And that's going to be really huge because Incineroar can't get all the way out there and hit you for that. So what is going to be more trouble is going to be the ledge trap. This Incineroar has been doing a great job of catching these shields with side B. And in gaming, not always the most shield-heavy player. He's more so willing to throw out those super armor smash attacks. And I can't say I'm certain how that would interact with Incineroar side B, but it could be something interesting we see in this match. And another thing is that Little Mac doesn't have T-Jolt. So Incineroar's going to have to commit a lot more to earning these revenges.
Right, and especially with a character like Little Mac who has such incredible ground speed. He can just play this whip punish game really well, and I've seen that a little bit from NN Gaming, just kind of just sitting back a little bit, using Little Mac's really fast walk and run speed, and kind of just wait for the opponent to swing, step back a little more, and then throw out an F tilt for a punish. And it's gotten a lot of mileage, but I think what we need to see is how he uses KO punch. With Incineroar only at 1 stock, you don't have to essentially rip the KO punch right off the bat, right? You can use that as a way to kind of impose fear onto your opponent, right? As long as you keep holding on to it, it'll just keep the opponent guessing, when is he gonna let it rip? I'm playing super safe. He has to throw it at some time, right? And while we do know that KO punch doesn't go away unless you either let it rip on your own or someone has to hit you out of it. Especially with a solo character like Incineroar, it's gonna be hard to kind of force Little Mac to kind of throw out that KO punch. So I think just holding on to it and just giving out that threat, just to open up some more options would be would be great.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things to think about here because Incineroar as a character, you wouldn't think he would give Little Mac KO punch easily. Little Mac gains KO punch by getting hit repeatedly, and I feel like Incineroar would kill you in such few hits, especially if he's managed to secure a revenge, that Little Mac may not earn the right to use that KO punch. But if we're talking about in the next battle, perhaps we fight a Bayonetta, perhaps we fight a Toon Link, those are characters that are hitting you all the time. And Little Mac may end up getting 2 KO punches in that kind of match. So NN Gaming really has a few different sort of play styles that he has to go up against here, where KO punch may be a factor, it may not be, but with this 1 stock of Incineroar, he's not relying on that tool to kill the Incineroar at 20. He's really relying on his better neutral game, his ground speed, his armor, to really fight this Incineroar up close and play a much different game than this Incineroar has been playing this crew battle, which is versus these quick characters, this Mithra, this Pikachu. It's a very different battle for him. We'll see how he adjusts, see how much that revenge comes out. We've had one successful edge guard on Incineroar so far, but that's just not going to be in Little Mac's toolbox. He's going to be playing a much more on-stage game.
Right, and I think it also depends on the stage pick here, Avery. We do see a lot of hesitation from like what we see with the stage picks here. Like I did see hovering over FD a lot, but I did see some over, let's say, like a Kalos or like a PS2. I think it just kind of depends on like what NN Gaming wants to do with like the blast zones of the stages. Does he want to go for like a smaller stage, like a Smashville or something, to kind of like abuse the fact that the blast zones are really small and he can just kill Super pretty easily, despite Incineroar being a pretty heavy character himself? Or he can go for a stage like Kalos and kind of abuse the fact that the blast zones are just really big and kind of just use that to live.
Yeah, you don't die in 2 hits typically on like a Kalos, and that can be very normal for these characters on a Smashville, both of them, with their poor recoveries and generally poor disadvantage. So I look at NN Gaming, it looks like he has selected Kalos. This is actually a stage that he could maybe see a KO punch on potentially. This is definitely one of the largest stages in the game, especially that top blast zone. Although these characters often aren't going to be killing off the top, certainly a big stage nonetheless. So we could see some high percents here. Could work against SU if this Incineroar is able to take some stocks by living forever.
Why we do see here the when we got SD's off, we do see just how can Shenandoah win from here, right? Like you have to hold on to this stock, and it's really hard to see like what kind of character Bowie State will kind of throw in after this, because we haven't even seen curveballs here, Avery. We've seen Mario, Yoshi, and Incineroar. We haven't seen any of the characters that we were used to seeing before.
A strong start from NN Gaming, using those boxing skills, using that speed to get around this Incineroar. And you can see the Incineroar is a bit confused by this Little Mac playstyle thus far, but a Lariat going to bring right back to even percents, and you have to be oh so careful at this ledge here. You do not want to accidentally lose a stock to Incineroar side B. A big down smash there from Incineroar. NN Gaming does not recognize that he could have gotten a KO punch from that.
Right, and yeah, that was just a free KO punch from NN Gaming, but the side B trying to get the trade going in.
Oh, he jumped first. I don't think he makes it. Oh, Incineroar might have saved him. This is going to be a back throw. I don't think it quite does the stock. A jump immediately from NN Gaming. He is going to make it back. This is an even battle here from the Incineroar and the Little Mac. Who will get a stock first? The Incineroar goes for a big side B. NN Gaming playing this whiff punish game, being like, you're going to have to catch me, but accidentally F-tilts the wrong direction. It's going to be the Incineroar with the first stock.
Right, and pretty unfortunate coming out here, but we do see a fresh new stock from NN Gaming taking out Super White, ending his reign, but unfortunately losing a stock in the process. Wants to go against Bowie State's anchor with a 1 stock deficit.
Yeah, and NN Gaming had such a strong start there. He was really aware of the mid-range that this Incineroar was trying to play, and he was pressing into that range really well. And when he got into Incineroar's space, he was also capitalizing way better than Incineroar. But like you saw, it really only takes a couple hits for Incineroar to even the game back up, and then as soon as Little Mac's in the corner, any attack from Incineroar is going to be absolutely devastating. So he was really able to capitalize well on that, and I feel like there was just a few small mistakes there for NN Gaming. I really hope it doesn't cost them the crew battle. Like, we have no idea who this last player is going to be for Bowie State. Obviously, you would prefer it to be a 3v3 for Shenandoah, but if we're just getting curveball after curveball, you start to wonder, how many can they throw before, like, you start sending in too curvy of a curveball, if you know what I mean. Like, you try something and it's like, this has been working out for us, but when does it stop? Like, at some point, you probably want to go for something like I assume that at least some of these players are like playing secondaries. I think that's a fair assumption that they don't just have this many players on their roster. Maybe they do. So I would think, like, by that logic, that your anchor would certainly go their main. I think that would be pretty obvious. But is this going to be a main of a character that they've seen so far? I think Bayo is a solid pick for that. I think Toomlink is a solid pick for that. But when I think about those characters, those are characters that I went out there and Nate said he wants.
That's certainly some. Is it boldness or confidence? You tell me, Avery. But yeah, I mean, I do like the point you made. Like it has to come to a point, right, where just the curveballs just kind of just have to stop from there. Like we are at their last player, so I feel like there has to be at some point we have to send one of the familiarities, correct? So like other than like one of the characters we've seen like in the past, like the Bayonet and the Toon Link, kind of like what we're expecting. Like honestly, who knows what they're gonna send? But it just feels like it makes the most sense for them to go like one of those characters that we keep talking about, because like you said, Avery, I don't think they have like all those players. We might be thinking it might be like a pocket, like a secondary, or it's just a new main that they're just picking it flat out.
Yeah, it's very interesting, Kyle, and all we can do is guess. But at the end of the day, Shenandoah is down 2-3 here with the Little Mac as the anchor. In case you guys wanted a quick history lesson here, I don't think Shenandoah has ever anchored NN Gaming. I could be wrong about that.
I think they have in the past.
But, I mean, very rarely, if ever. I mean, typically they like NN Gaming in the front half of these crew battles, but I actually really don't mind NN Gaming at the bottom half of this crew battle either. I think he, has that threat of that KO punch that can delete some stocks. And, so far he hasn't been gimped. I think he's going for some risky recovery routes. I hope that doesn't bite him versus something like a Bayonetta. But, I mean, at the end of the day, he has 2 stocks to play with, could potentially get 2 KO punches that the opponent has to avoid. In my opinion, that's what's most scary, having to go against his Little Mac. And Kyle, the pitcher might as well be pitching left-hand submarine at this point because a Bowser has come to play.
We all, like, with the exception of Incineroar, we've almost had the entire, like, Mario, all the Mario characters.
I called it, Kyle. I said the Bowser was coming in.
Yeah, I guess you're right, man. Like, we're not expecting the Incineroar. But, like, yeah, just a Bowser pick.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to
Tell him.
up these up
Let him have it, Mac.
Doc Lewis to be proud.
Oh, and I like what I saw there, Kyle. Already a downer at a disadvantage coming from this Bowser, and NN Gaming punishing it immediately. That's what you want to see if you're an SU fan.
Right, and just these pure, like, aggressions from NN Gaming. Such confidence. Oh, my goodness. Lechonk just losing his first stock without even landing a single hit.
Oh, no. Oh, someone help him. Oh, he got out of it.
He got out of the blender. Oh, no. And we do see just these
help! Help!
Just keep doing it until he figures it out.
And another big attack from NN Gaming. This Bowser has yet to figure out this Little Mac, and a big KO punch whiff come through from NN Gaming. A little bit too much dip on his chip, perhaps. But this Bowser landing a few dash attacks here, wants to go for the grab here to counter that counter, and that was a great decision there from the Bowser as his Little Mac is just trying to put this stock away. The Bowser has done a great job of evening this up, and that's going to be no jump for Little Mac, no chance of coming back there, and almost at the KO punch as well. That's a bad one to lose for NN Gaming.
Yeah, after getting so much momentum back, just lost it all me, and yeah,
that's gonna do it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
That is not the ending you're looking for if you're SU.
Yeah, pretty anticlimactic, if you ask me, but you gotta admit, it is optimal. As unfavorable as it is to the crowd, like it is kind of like the best option could have gone for there. Why not go for an up throw into like a forwarder, like a quick 40, where you just take the stock flat out if they just don't drift in, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, Little Mac, no chance of making that back. I do think that was survivable if Little Mac was able to hold right there to get back onto the stage, but just caught slipping there. And in gaming, I mean, he had such a great performance in this game, was able to rack up so much damage, was able to get some solid kills onto the Bowser, but at the end of the day, Bowser works a lot like Incineroar, where he really doesn't need that many attacks to close the deficit, and a very strong crew battle the whole way through for Shenandoah. No doubt that the roadblock is the Incineroar. If they're going to win this, they're going to have to figure that out.
Absolutely, and I think at this point, it just comes down to damage control, right? Because I think the damage control, we just could not, sustain it as much as we would like to. Incineroar, I don't remember how many stocks he took. I think he took maybe 6. Yeah, taking out half of Shenandoah's stocks. That's not a desirable outcome. And just think about it, right? Even though he took 6, Shenandoah still almost clawed it back at one point. But from here, you kind of have to wonder, what can we do to stop this rain? If we're confident in finding these other characters, we have to worry about the big picture, and that big picture is that big cat.
Yeah, I will say that, the rest of this looked so clean from Shenandoah, and, maybe we can change some of that around to give this Incineroar a different look. At the end of the day, NN Gaming was able to take that stock, but not before losing one. So I'm almost scared to try like 3-on-3 NN Gaming versus this Incineroar. So at the end of the day, you have to look back and like, what is our option? Maybe our option is the Chiliad Kazuya. That's a character that, certainly beats Incineroar quite strongly, and that's a matchup that Chiliad much prefers rather than the Aegis. So if we can find someone else to deal with this Yoshi, maybe we slot NN Gaming in there, maybe we slot Waneblade in there. If that Yoshi can be, taken care of without the hard counter pick, then I think we can at least open up a new option for this Incineroar, because that is what needs figured out.
Yeah, I think it comes to a point where we kind of have to try something new. Despite it being as close as it was, sometimes you have to make adjustments, right? And even if you win, you can still make adjustments to where you can make that lead an even bigger lead the next time around. So you can't just go in with the same sort of strategy, because at that point you just become too predictable. And who's stopping, Bowie State from just starting the Incineroar and just starting his reign right there?
That's a scary proposition there, Kyle. I didn't even think of that one, but if you predict that Shenandoah goes for a safe start here of Storm that worked last time, and the Incineroar puts on a show versus him, that could be big trouble for Shenandoah. Although you get the counter pick right away, maybe you can make a comeback in the second half. That's certainly something you can try. That is indeed the difficulty with moving your strongest performing player to the start of the roster, is that if they are dealt with, even if you have the lead, it may not be a big enough lead. And that's something that can certainly come into play here. This is not a player that Shenandoah has encountered before. We have no idea, where the playbook characters are, but at the end of the day, Bowie State has made this work, and Shenandoah has to figure it out. I really feel like NN Gaming can figure out this Bowser, but does he get to see him again? We have no idea at this point. I mean, anything is possible.
It's hard to guess at this point, Avery, because we've only seen surprises coming out from Bowie State. Like, it's kind of hard to tell what their strategy will be from this point forward, because I guess we thought like their Mario was gonna be a safe start, then like their Yoshi was gonna be like a safer start from there. But looking into the blind picks here, we finally seen some familiarities here. We're finally seeing the hero.
Yeah, what is fascinating is that this hero went in first versus Shenandoah when they played in pools. So now they are going for this new, perhaps old strategy. Bowie State willing to switch it up even upon winning, like you mentioned, Kyle. And we are starting NN Gaming for Shenandoah Academy. So, this Little Mac maybe didn't feel comfortable in the back half of the crew battle. Going to go back to his roots a little bit at the start. And we're going to get to see a totally new matchup. I do not believe these two have matched up between each other. I believe last time it was Waneblade versus the hero in their first showing of this crew battle. So I'm definitely confident that NN Gaming can take this. But I think he was more prepping for like a Toon Link, like a Bayonetta. So the fact that he gets to go against the hero is a bit unexpected for him, but this is a very unexpected crew battle. So it's just on him to adjust. But if you ask me, I think the NN Gaming's playstyle is a bit harder to adjust to than most.
Yeah, and I do like the idea of like starting right after anchoring, because if you're NN Gaming, you're fresh off the bat. You just lost another game, but you played for a while. He played
pretty well.
Yeah, he played pretty well, and your hands are still hot. So, when I think you were talking about this earlier, Avery, NN Gaming is usually around the front half of the team instead of like the anchor position. So kind of just swapping to something that's a little more comfortable for NN Gaming, despite him doing pretty well as the anchor. Maybe swapping to what he's used to might be the edge that Shenandoah needs.
Yeah, we may be in for the long haul, folks. I know Shenandoah doesn't want to bow out just yet. If you're just joining us, we are in NECC Division 4 third place match. The winner of this will earn third place in NECC Division 4. The loser will get fourth place, still a respectable finish, still in the top half of both pools coming into the playoff bracket. But certainly this Academy team is looking to medal here over Bowie State, and they certainly can with the way they're playing. If they keep up this play, they certainly can take on a team like this. It's just about those little small adjustments, and maybe Bowie State will throw them a bone. Maybe this hero doesn't perform quite like the Yoshi or the Mario did. So maybe Shenandoah can get an edge there. We'll have to see. Right into the battle we go. Game number 2. Bowie State is up 1-0, but a new player enters the ring.
Right, and I do believe we do start in Smash Bros. Yes, that is correct. KK slider not coming out. It is not starting tonight. I wish there was like a toggle for like toggling the KK slider, because I think he's a pretty cool addition to the stage. But we do see here, oh my goodness, now catching the early counter, trying to get the psych up, trying to get an early kill with the up smash. That's kind of strange.
Yeah, these two players very aggressive with these smash attacks. We take those stocks very quickly if they land, but if they don't, these players are in for a heap of lag, and the first KO punch is online for NN Gaming. But with Hero at 94%, he certainly doesn't need it to take a stock. Perhaps can try to hold it for the next, but no, is going to lose it. These charged smash attacks at ledge are very, very strong if they do connect, but sometimes they're just going to let Hero back to stage for free.
Right, and just getting caught swinging back again. And again, just getting these. I don't know what he's trying to accomplish with these.
He's trying to swing through a get-up attack with the armor and is going to get up B instead of side B there. If you're not on point with these little Mac recoveries, you are certainly going to fall. And NN Gaming just can't quite get his footing yet. Takes the stock with the forward tilt, but a bit of an ugly one, if you ask me.
Yeah, not the cleanest stock I've seen in this career battle, but there is still time for adjustments. Just swinging for the fences, NN Gaming is trying to get these ambitious side Bs in. This Hero just trying to play very safe, trying to camp with these spells and these big sword, trying to get another psych up going, but eating a forward smash for it. Is this a good trade?
Yeah, another KO punch coming online for NN Gaming here. The snooze gonna miss, and a big punch. NN Gaming takes one off the top. The KO punch certainly gonna do it at that percent, and all of a sudden, NN Gaming putting on some threat here. Goes above the ledge, but thankfully that side B gonna connect.
Yeah, and I love to see these down tilts. A very safe option, and just playing very reactionary with these side Bs here. I do love the idea, and a nice low side B kind of shark a little bit, while also being at a much more safer, distance.
Yeah, NN Gaming did not have a jump there, so had to be extra careful coming back to the stage, trying to find these side Bs. Only has to take one more hit to earn himself a KO punch. Really tries to get a roll, but is going to die instantly for it. Those big plays like that, sometimes they're just not going to be worth it.
Yeah, and Excel Rattle just gives Hero infinite movement. It is near impossible to catch him. Almost to the point where the Hero player can't even control the speed themselves, but as you see, it doesn't last for very long. And NN Gaming trying to get another offense started. The dash attack clanking with the up B, the clean forward smash. What can he do with this ledge situation? Not going to quite get the 2-frame.
And then Gaming really trying to be aggressive when this Hero is shielding at the ledge. But these back throws have been giving NN Gaming the hurt. He just cannot get hit by another one, and the Hatchet Man is going to last longer than that counter. NN Gaming just too aggressive off this ledge. When you're recovering as Little Mac, you just cannot afford to want to swing back. Your character just does not have that strength.
Yeah, very unfortunate to see here. That is something that we've been trying to go over with NN Gaming for a little bit now. Just you're being caught way too often, being very aggressive, just swinging back your way towards the stage, and as we saw there, paying the price for with that early counter.
Yeah, and with the recoveries, or with his ledge traps too. I mean, I don't think I saw a single ledge trap that didn't include a smash attack from NN Gaming. And although they're very strong, although you can try to armor through a get-up attack, which I know is what he's going for, I really just don't recommend it. I mean, he's really dying for going for a lot of these ledge traps. And when you're in the advantage, like, not only giving your opponent the neutral situation, but giving them an advantage situation is just certainly going to spell disaster. And when NN Gaming is going in there and only taking 2 stocks, especially versus a player that I know he wanted to take more from, that's definitely not the start that Shenandoah is looking for.
Yeah, definitely not. Having won the killers and NN Gaming being taken out this early is definitely not a good start for Shenandoah, considering like we still have Incineroar in the back for their opponent,
for Bowie State.
Bowie State, yeah, and it's really hard to say. Is there a strategy kind of just like throw them off with like these like oddball picks like in the Mario and the Yoshi and like the Bowser, but also still have like the Incineroar, and like we saw just now the Hero, and like who's to say we might see either Toon Link in the Bayonetta again. Maybe it's just kind of just throw them off, like give them like almost no chance of like adapting.
Yeah, they gotta adapt on the fly, Kyle. I mean, they gotta make the adjustments quickly, or they're gonna bow out here at 4th place. And they're really giving this counter pick a think, and I think that's fair. I mean, you definitely have the option of sending in Storm here as the starter for game number 1. and I think that would be a decent selection there. You can definitely edge guard this hero, make him use that mana to recover, because your only other options are like Pikachu, or you force Chiliad on a character. And although Pikachu does very well, I really don't know if Shenandoah's tactic is to go the Pikachu into the Incineroar again. I mean, he ended up taking 2 stocks off the Incineroar, so that could be the wave there. But I mean, I think Storm here is probably going to be the safe bet, because then you get to see the second player from Bowie State and get to counterpick them with your second half, which is going to consist of Waneblade and Chiliad. I think that's probably going to be what they're going for, but we'll have to find out here shortly. Looks like the counterpick is going to be coming in.
Yeah, and I think from our look at the player cams, I think we saw even Vixen. I could be wrong, but I think this is probably a safe solution to this hero.
For sure.
Only 1 stock left of hero, and as if we saw that confidence that we saw in the second half versus that Mario from Vixen, I think he can hold on to a stock. By that I mean all 3 of his stocks in a situation like this versus a character like Hero who as oppressive as he can be in the mid to long ranges with his nice spells and the buffs, he kind of gets ran over when you're in front of him, right? So maybe with a character that has some aggression like the Pits can kind of give him a hard time.
Yeah, and is going to go for the Dark Pit here. I know us on the desk may want to see a Pit here to get the hero off stage with the guided arrows. I mean, if you're trying to recover as hero with your Tornado and you got an arrow that can hit you from anywhere, that could be quite dangerous. But I know Vixen here really loves the Electroshock as a potential option to kill with, and maybe that could catch this hero off guard if they're trying to, get some spells in the corner. That Electroshock could catch a sleeping hero.
Yeah, I mean, maybe in a situation like this where we want to just close out that stock, maybe we could see a discussion for Dark Pit's Electroshock being more favorable than Pit's guided arrows. But I also think the idea of the utility that Pit's normal arrows get is just so good, right?
Certainly.
Especially for the character like Hero, it kind of just locks him out of just farming for buffs while he's just falling off the stage before he just gets a zoom or something. And if you you were saying earlier, Avery, if you were to catch him out of an uppie or something, it just means he has to spend more mana to get back. And if you just keep doing that, you just make him broke of all of his mana, and you won't have any more mana to spend to get back to the stage.
Yeah, this hero only has 1 stock to work with, so only 100 mana this hero will start with, and you'll obviously gain it back from attacking your opponent, but it makes a lot of spells may come out at the beginning of this battle, because Hero isn't really that concerned with, saving, these really aggressive plays for stocks that come after, because there's certainly only 1 stock on the board. Vixen, a very strong showing in game number 1. Very strong player here on the Dark Pit. We'll have to see what they can make happen versus the hero. That Zapple, just dealing so much damage. Cover that mid-range.
All right, nice jump attempt with the forward air, but Vixen just struggling to get any sort of footing, just getting zoned out by these side Bs and these forward airs, just running into these spells, and very strange interaction. I thought for sure that back air was going to beat that down smash, but Accelerado coming out, trying to just hold shield, see what happens when Vixen just lands something on his shield, but just a little bit of a scramble situation going on, Avery.
Yeah, Vixen trying to pressure with the Electroshock, looking for a shield break there. But yeah, I mean, when you spot dodge it, that move does indeed have a lot of lag. So Vixen going to pay the price for that one. Going to get a little bit of something started here. Looking for Hero to throw out a spell, so maybe we can get a Reflector online. Going off stage is Dark Pit. Goes low. Gets the spike. That's going to do it, Kyle. Great awareness there from Vixen, understanding that we don't have to go back to stage just yet. I can get another down air out there, and it's going to be the one that takes the stock.
Yeah, and unfortunate that he lost a stock in the process, but he just got caught way too many times, just kind of just forcing his way in, just running in, just kind of running into those apples, into those fireballs and the forward airs, losing a stock for it, but ended up cleaning it out with only losing 1 stock. Not the worst position for Shenandoah. We did lose NN Gaming in the process, but we still have heaters like Waneblade and Chiliad in the back.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at this from a pure numbers perspective, we can talk all we want about how NN Gaming has really been an asset from this team. But at the end of the day, we are only down 1 stock. And I think one of the things that makes this really hard to determine whether this is a winnable position for SU, I mean, obviously it's winnable, it's only 1 stock, but like, let's think, like, numbers-wise, it's really hard because we don't know what Bowie State is bringing to the table. So it's hard to say, like, how this should play out because we just don't know what's coming. If I had the information that Bowie State was definitely going to go Mario, Yoshi, and Bowser, the characters that we saw in the previous battle, well, they have the Incineroar too. If they definitely are going to go for those those 4 players, I actually don't mind Shenandoah's spot in this at all. We saw Wayne Blade take 2 stocks off the Incineroar, and we did not see Chiliad's Kazuya versus the Incineroar. So those are, 2 players that could potentially beat this Incineroar, and then we certainly have had the upper edge versus the Mario, versus the Yoshi, versus the Bowser. So if those are the players that are coming to play for Bowie State, I actually think this 1 stock deficit is a very reasonable comeback potential for Shenandoah.
Right, but the question is, like, who does Bowie State send from here? They kind of want to just, like, extend this lead as much as they can with, like, the utmost confidence that, like, the Incineroar was just, like, kind of just wipe Vixen from there, or maybe losing, like, 1 stock in the process. Still being put in a great situation versus, like, someone like Chiliad or Wayne Blade. Like, you have to, like, either force out the Kazuya from Chiliad, which, like, might be good for, like, someone like the Bayonetta or the Toon Link if they want to, like, show up for this.
Oh, true. They could force Chiliad on the Kazuya and go the Toon Link. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, that is, we've heard this from, our Kazuya player, Willie himself, that he does not like this Toon Link character very much. He's pretty much does not like that matchup in the slightest. Well, Bayonetta can also be pretty annoying. He just says himself, like, oh, I just got hit her once and she dies. But I guess he has a different kind of roadblock when it comes to a character like Toon Link. But it's kind of just hard to see, like, what we go for from here, because, like, I keep saying this before, we keep getting caught with curveballs.
Yeah, if you do think that the Incineroar can come out of this with only losing 1 stock versus Storm, then I do think there's an argument for that play, but you definitely don't want to be in a situation where you let Shenandoah get to a 5v6 or a 6v6 here. Mm-hmm. You want to definitely keep this really strong lead that you have if you're Bowie State. We are going to go to Town and City, so I'm really hoping we didn't perhaps go Incineroar Town and City here. That would maybe not be the best decision.
That'd be pretty bad. I mean, with a coach like Eliminathan, I did see him, like, in the player camp, so he did just come back from class. Glad to see he can show up. And maybe he knows better not to, let his players take Incineroar to Town. And we were right. We are going to see the Mario on Town. So thankfully, we're not going to be seeing Incineroar on Town for Shenandoah's sake. But Mario is still a relatively scary character on Town, because while the blast zones are pretty high, pretty high up on the top, and Mario, loves killing off the top with those kind of extensions. And what are we doing? Can we just be normal?
Let's see if the Mario chooses to hit Vixen, or if we're going to have to dizzy out of the shield break animation. Looks like it's going to be the latter. I wonder if his controller's stuck.
Yeah, I'm gonna see. I'm thinking it might be a controller issue.
Yeah.
From Vixen. Yeah,
permanent shield is isn't that one that you've had in the past?
I've had. I was just gonna mention I've had this exact issue before, and I think he uses Pro Controller, so that sort of solution is probably different when I use GameCube. Usually, I just kind of just unplug and plug it back in, and sometimes it works just fine, but then after I get it fixed, I won't have that issue anymore. But for, Pro Controllers, I'm not entirely sure what's going on here.
Yeah, I mean, we're just going to have to wait and see if that gets fixed. I mean, worst case scenario, Vixen just has to use one of their teammates' controllers. I mean, it's not going to be the end of the world, but I mean, certainly something you'd like to see not affect the game whatsoever. Let's see if just the simple reconnect gets back online here, perhaps. Oh, and Vixen is moving around.
All right, it looks like we're good. So we might
all right, going to lose the stock here. I think we're going to play this out. Let's see if we get some taunts.
We're gonna
we are. All right, let's go. Vixen's controller is online.
There we go. So jumping right back into it on Town and City. Gonna start on the FD there, and no platforms in sight as the timer suggests, but we are back to the platforms like as if the game just started.
Yeah, and these platforms certainly going to help Mario with those combos, but they are not permanent. There is a couple different variants on this stage that, Mario has to deal with in terms of different routes that he has to go with his combos. And we've seen that this Mario player does have these routes online, but Vixen, these edge guards just been absolutely excellent, just making sure that this Mario doesn't get any combos.
Right, just trying to just rip all those forward smashes just to kind of force Mario into this really bad situation where he can just go for an edge guard, but not gonna probably fall for it just yet. And we see another attempt there.
Oh, that might do it.
Yeah, there you go. You know, I'm gonna say this, Avery. Like, everyone keeps saying, like, oh, just hit Orbitars from below, and that's what the Mario just did. And look at that, still shielded through all those hits from the uppie. I'm not sure what to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, the Mario tries to go for the counter play, but the orbital's simply too strong. Vixen keeping this Mario in the air, spacing around that up smash. Vixen learned from that game number 1 that this Mario likes to go for that headbutt move. He does not have the hard hat on anymore, though, but is still willing to get the wedding suit dirty for this kill on the Dark Pit as he brings out the Flood. But Vixen has not fallen victim to the Flood just yet, as he does take a beating for trying to land on top of a Mario, but Town and City is actually going to save him there with the top blast on being so high. Forward smash, though, certainly going to do it.
Yeah, and you know, these platforms are gone now, so I think if I were Vixen, I would play his opportunity to play very aggressive versus Mario because he doesn't have any any platforms to extend his combos, but as we just saw, that did not last very long as the platforms are back.
Yeah, I will say Vixen has been doing a great job of getting these drag downs. Just got to be careful with those high percents when you can't go for them anymore. Look at that well-spaced back air to get around the up smash and going for these just forward smashes just outright on a stage like Town and City. Mario has to be careful getting hit by those.
Right, and using the arrows kind of try to catch him off stage, but not as much control with Dark Pit arrows as you would with normal Pit's arrows. If it were normal Pit's arrows, he'd have a lot more control and kind of just a lot more threatening with these arrows. And with a scramble situation, a nice grab coming out. And we do see just catching these air dodges with, oh my goodness.
He's panicking, Kyle. Yeah. This Dark Pit is threatening.
If you remember old school Ultimate Avery, I think we saw a few of American air dodges.
Perhaps.
Yeah, just if you don't know what American air dodges, it's just a funny little joke that we have in the community where early on in Ultimate, a lot of the top American players just air dodge directly towards the stage, and you know they would normally die for it. Like we saw versus the Mario right here.
Yeah, and I mean, Bowie State has to be careful here because although the up smash is online here, Vixen has been doing a great job at navigating around it. This Mario may have to find a different way of killing, and this is scary on Town here, Kyle. 30%, the Mario gets around it here, looking for the up smash, but Vixen, I mean, if he's not able to find this forward smash, Vixen is just reading these landings.
I would see.
That might do it, Kyle. I mean, this Mario cannot land. Vixen is just too far away. What a performance from the Dark Pit.
Wow, what a mental block. Like, coming out from the Mario, they're like, just getting caught, just like overextending over and over again. Just Vixen, I can't count how many times he's gotten away with just dash back S smashing. That's at least like 5 times.
Yeah, I mean, and on a stage like Town and City, too, that forward smash, I mean, I expected to see an electroshock killer, too, but it's going to end up being the forward smash to take majority of the stocks there from the Mario. I mean, I don't, like, fully recall the start of that match. I feel like Vixen had a pretty good start, and then the Mario made a bit of a comeback, but certainly that second half was all Dark Pit.
Absolutely, and, you know, just amazing like awareness from Vixen, just knowing like, okay, this Mario is just doing anything in his power to kind of just drift in and just get in on me. I'm just gonna just keep running away and just keep swinging my swords, and I'll just keep him far away. And despite the arrows not quite, you know, having the control to like keep Mario like in a situation where he has to recover super well, where he can just go for those edge guards, but still having some sort of pressure there.
That's what you love to see from Vixen, that he's willing to win in multiple ways. In game number 1, we saw that Vixen was able to get online with these edge guards, and although that netted him a lot of damage in this game number 2, it was actually his dashbacks that were able to net him most of these stocks. So Vixen, a lot of tools in the toolbox, and that's what you want to see from a Dark Pit player. You don't want, you know, the Dark Pit player to have 1 or 2 tricks. It's not really what Dark Pit does. Dark Pit has all the tools. It's just a matter of bringing them out at the right time versus the right player. And that's exactly what we saw from Vixen. I mean, this stage was immaculate for him, completely avoiding all of the Mario combos, and the spacing. Also just simply amazing. Avoiding those up smashes really made it difficult for Mario to kill. I mean, this is going to be a roadblock for Bowie State as they have now lost the lead.
Right, you know, just to update, I know we are at 6 to 7 stocks. Shenandoah in the lead here. Now, we keep talking about this, Avery. What is the solution coming from Bowie State? Is it time we let the Incineroar do his thing? Do we kind of have to let him try to find a way to claw his way back into the lead here? Because I think this kind of went like a similar position. How like we had like a nice counter pick going into somebody, and then we have the Incineroar kind of just clean up from there and just kind of see how big of a lead he can get from it. But now, like we saw, like they're willing to send in like a couple of their like older players from what we've seen with the hero, but now we're just at like a loss for like what could happen.
I mean, if you recall, the Yoshi was able to make pretty quick work of Storm in game number 1.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, Storm only had 1 stock, so I would be a bit shocked if they didn't try the Yoshi here, but I was a bit shocked that they went for the Mario over either Yoshi or Incineroar. I think there's definitely an argument that if you think this Incineroar is going to be hardest for SU to figure out, that you just anchor them no matter what, and you make SU figure that out with the pressure on. You know, we can talk about fighting Incineroar under pressure and how that can be difficult, but at the end of the day, you know, you want that lead, so I think the Yoshi can get it done, but that definitely locks your anchor position up, so it's a big decision either way, and Shenandoah doesn't have to make it. Bowie State does. They are going to opt for the Incineroar, and I really don't understand this. I feel like if you were going to try Incineroar, you would have tried it before the Mario.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that option has passed, and they're like, all right, this pit needs to go because he's simply moving too much right now.
Yeah, I mean, you make a good point, Avery. Like, if you were going to bring the Incineroar, why not just do it, like, last game, right? Because I felt like Incineroar would have been a much better, like, answer for Vixen here, but maybe they were confident that Mario could do it. Maybe the Mario was like, I want my run back from last game. He's down a stock. I can definitely do it this time. And maybe got a little too overconfident in catching the regrab with the downside. Not quite getting anything off it just yet.
And you can see Vixen being very aggressive versus this Incineroar offstage. That's exactly what you want to see. I was talking about it with Waneblade, the Pikachu. It's going to take a long time for Dark Pit to rack up enough damage on this Incineroar to kill him nice and honestly off the stage. At the end of the day, you really just want to drag down Nair or a down air off that stage to take a stock nice and early.
Right, you see some patience from the Incineroar, going to get the nice side B, the Alolan Whip, as we see here, just playing the center stage, kind of just running away, just kind of just baiting Vixen into overshooting just a little bit too much. And, you know, as slow as Incineroar is, he's still able to kind of just get these whip punches in with these side Bs. And, you know, the third one is the charm. Now, the third one will do it.
Yep, it's tough to deal with, Kyle. I mean, this Incineroar kind of playing the same game that Vixen did versus the Mario. If you have to approach me, which is the case in this matchup, I mean, this Incineroar can kind of just back up until Vixen gets too close with an attack. So, I mean, that's kind of the idea of PS2 there as well. A lot of space for Incineroar to run around on, and then as soon as Dark Pit goes in for that attack, you simply back up and you press side B. That's going to be a big proponent of Incineroar's game, and whoever goes in versus Incineroar right now has to know what this Incineroar is going for, because Incineroar, unlike Dark Pit, you know, he doesn't have the all-around tools. He has like a couple really big strengths. So it's going to be, you know, which player can deal with those big strengths. And it looks like Shenandoah's choice is going to be Waneblade on the Pikachu. Definitely going to have to disagree with this choice here, Kyle. I mean, I really feel like Waneblade squeaked out that second stock on the Incineroar, you know, last time lost that big reverse edge guard. But, I mean, I get they want to anchor the Chiliad Kazuya here, but this is the Chiliad Kazuya is the only thing this Incineroar has not seen, and I simply, like, I don't think this is a consistent pick from Shenandoah.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Avery. Like, I'm not entirely sure about this pick. I mean, because, yeah, on paper, Pikachu does win, but we saw in the past, like, Waneblade was struggling a bit, and I think now would be a perfect time to send in the Kazuya, and we have the counter pick advantage, right? So, just saying the Pikachu seems a bit strange, because maybe the plan is to, like, if Waneblade can take out this Incineroar, which is a tall order, maybe like whoever anchors on Bowie State, and we could see some like really nice counter pick advantage coming in from Chiliad, where she can kind of have this freedom to go either Aegis or Kazuya, but like I'm not entirely sure.
That could be the case if they really want to play Aegis Kazuya, or I mean Aegis Yoshi.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Chiliad really doesn't want to play Kazuya Yoshi. Like, I could see an argument for that, But I mean, with how the match went with Aegis Yoshi, like that's pretty replicable on multiple characters. I feel like you could make that work with this Incineroar. I mean, this is something that we really want to come out with at least 2 stocks versus. If this is even if Waneblade takes 2 here, that's certainly still a fine position for SU because that's very reasonable to still end up in a 3-on-3, which is where you want to be at the end of the day. So, I mean, obviously it's Waneblade's goal to take all 3 stocks here, but what really can't happen is he loses, stocks super early and he gets frustrated, and then you just, you're attacking all the time, you're getting revenged all the time, and then you just end up exploding, and then all of a sudden Chiliad's in an unwinnable position. I mean, that's really what you're trying to avoid here if you're Shenandoah. And again, on paper, obviously Pikachu, Edgeguards, and Incineroar incredibly, and maybe we will see those come online from Waneblade, but the onstage game was really hurting him last time.
Yeah, if there's a place to be a bit ambitious with those kind of Edgeguards, has to be now when you're
Certainly.
kind of like theoretically on the back foot. You're playing with your tournament lives here. Well, I guess one way or another, like you are out of the tournament. It's just like your third placement is on the line here, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I mean the on-stage presence wasn't quite the best, and I could see it being I see it being pretty annoying for Pikachu because you can't just throw out T-Jolts like they're free. But yeah, I mean the off-stage game, you kind of have to hammer that down versus a character like Incineroar, especially when you don't have your on-stage presence like you usually would.
Yeah, what specifically would you like to see from Waneblade, when he's competing with Incineroar on the stage? Like, can we go for these T-Jolts and then maybe try to get a grab for these revenges, or what is the game plan? Do we go for more of the quick attack strategy that was working for a bit in game 1? What kind of were we looking for?
I think we just have to find a way to just take him off stage and then just go for these edge guards, right? I get it's kind of hard to get the grab on Incineroar, but I did see a lot of shield habits from this Incineroar in particular, kind of just waiting for the opponent just swing at him and just especially with some revenge built up, it just does a ton of damage. Just if they land something unsafe from the shield, the usual response is just shield once you land something unsafe, and that just opens them up for a free grab, which is exactly what Incineroar wants.
I do think that this Incineroar is relying a lot on Shenandoah whiffing. And Waneblade is a very attack-heavy player. So can he keep up this aggression versus Incineroar without giving up too many whiff punishes? We're on Kalos, which is certainly going to be one of Pikachu's playgrounds here. A lot of space that you can move around, a lot of survivability on this stage. So let's see what the option is here from Waneblade. We are starting off with some similar aggression from him, moving in with these aerials, and the revenge has not yet come out yet for the Incineroar, so Pikachu is able to play around a bit with these attacks.
Right, and Waneblade getting a little too antsy with these ambitious jump-ins, right? These down airs and these dash attacks not quite landing, but the forward airs are, and we do see a trap attempt come in, another forward smash coming, I guess. Not quite ready for that, and frankly, who can be? And I love that sort of spacing from Waneblade. You love to see it. The confidence to go for that down air. It will trade because that's how Pikachu is, right? He has some pretty small hitboxes. He is prone to being traded a lot, but that's exactly what you want to see.
Yeah, and I really can't believe that Pikachu managed to live there as well, Kyle. I thought for sure that we were going to see a spike come out from the Incineroar up B, but like you said, just incredible spacing there from Waneblade, able to secure the stock and keep his own. This is now scary for Incineroar because, like we can see right here, Waneblade no longer has to take initiative. He can simply quick attack around and make the Incineroar whiff, which is something that he's been making the opponent do.
Right, and I love this new adjustment that Waneblade is making, right? He's finding this new way to kind of play super defensively, not through T-Jump, but just Pikachu's natural, good stats. Pikachu's a very quick and fast character, and especially the move Quick Attack, just kind of just maneuver around this very slow cat.
Yeah, he's doing a great job, and you can see the Incineroar, he doesn't really want to go for revenge on these T-Jolts anymore. He wants just a straight-up hit, so that way he can take this mouse's stock, and then on the next stock is when he really needs his damage. But these ledge traps have just been brutal. This Incineroar simply just cannot land a big move onto Pikachu, which is exactly what Waneblade's going for. But another one of those jab checks into side B, Kyle. I can't believe he actually hit 2 of those in one set.
That's gotta be tilting. I can't lie, I'm a little tilted just watching it happen. just seeing it happen just feels like you're always get like hit by one of those jab checks, whether from Incineroar or like some other character like Kaj or like a Samus. Like it just feels tilting. It's like, how'd I get hit by that? It's like, God, when that happens, you kind of just have to keep your head up, keep your chin up, and don't get too ambitious there, Wayne.
But you're ready for it versus characters like Samus. Versus Incineroar, who does that? But I mean, Wayne so aware that off stage, even at 150, he's not scared to get out there, get this Incineroar stock, and he's gonna start racking up the damage on the next. You can't jump. Don't go there, Incineroar. That's gonna be a gimp at 20.
Incredible stuff from Wayne, just catching the up B armor, just the up B with the down air, and this is exactly what we're talking about, Avery. Just the confidence from Wayne to kind of just go out there and just throw out those options. And I'm pretty sure, like, I don't remember if that's how he lost all 3 of his stocks, but he lost at least 2 of them just by going out there and actually being willing to throw a hitbox out there, and it worked at least twice.
He got 2 down airs specifically, one on Incineroar up B going high, and one on Incineroar up B going low. And when you think about it, there's only 3 ways Incineroar can recover, which is side B, up B high, or up B low, and 2 out of 3 of those Wayne just completely destroyed. So this Incineroar has to be distraught. I mean, last time he went up against Wayne, he took all 3 stocks. This time, only taking 1 stock. If you're Shenandoah, you love that result, and you love the confidence from Wayne. I just don't think he's making those plays if not for just the training that he's been going through and just that boost in confidence from, fighting the varsity players and just, being confident in Pikachu's recovery ability, just throwing that one more attack off stage to try to gimp the opponent. I mean, that's what we love to see. We love to see these adjustments. Wayne came to play today.
Yeah, and, the damage control was, incredible this time around because, the cat was stopped before things got too bad, right?
He took 1 stock, Kyle?
Well, I think he took 2 because he took 1 off of Vixen. He took 2.
Okay, he did start versus Vixen, you're right.
Yeah, so, that's still a third of what the stocks he took, last game. And taking 6 during game 1, that was, incredible showing from Incineroar. But game 2, Shenandoah, especially Wayne was able to, kind of just figure it out and, what, I don't have to use T-Jolt to camp you. You're the slowest character in the game, and I'm really fast, and I have quick attack. So I can just run away from you and just force you to approach me, and that's just not very, not very, what's the word? Like, desirable if you are the Incineroar, because you just kind of, when you have to approach and you're Incineroar, like I said, you are the slowest character in the game. You have some nice buttons, but what good are those buttons if you don't have the speed to make up for it?
Yeah, and that was such a big down air from Wayne because he was at, I believe, 70%. So when he gets that down air on Incineroar at 20, it's possible that Pikachu can die in 1, maybe 2 more attacks. So the fact that you're able to hold that stock is such a big deal, especially versus a character like Incineroar who can take them so quickly. The counter pick from Bowie State is going to be the Toon Link that we saw when they played in pools. This is a character that Chiliad certainly does not want to go the Kazuya versus. So maybe we're getting our scenario right now, which is the reason that Chiliad didn't want to go in versus the Incineroar. I'll have to take back what I said if that's the case, because I heard from prediction this is the Bowser player from game 1. So not opting for the Toon Link versus Little Mac specifically, I think I could see an argument for that, but is going to opt for it versus the Pikachu.
Yeah, we're going to have to write an apology form for that one, Avery, because, we're just not familiar with, the amount of strategy that the Academy team had in this sort of scenario here. And I guess the confidence that, that Wayne had to take out the Incineroar, who was previously just a monster to deal with. And, now they're in such a good position here, even, despite, no matter how, good or bad, Wayne does here into this Toon Link, it gives Chiliad just an insane freedom to go Aegis here, which is just cannot be a good matchup for Toon Link in the slightest.
No, I mean, the Foresight going to be a super big deal in that matchup. You can outrange Toon Link, certainly. I mean, although Yoshi probably has less range than Toon Link, I feel like they have, similar kind of threats, especially at ledge. I mean, if Toon Link accidentally pokes above the ledge, we're certainly going to see that Myth or F Smash from Chiliad again. but the Toon Link has to get through Wayne Blade first. And, you know, the Pikachu may be a bit hard for Toon Link to lock down. Perhaps those boomerang combos a bit trickier to land, especially if those quick attacks are coming out and Wayne Blade's just moving in and out. I mean, I can't even imagine trying to recover versus this character as Toon Link either. This could be trouble.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the silver lines is that, like, for Toon Link, his bombs are, like, usually more for, like, combos, obviously. Like, all of the Links, well, I guess with the exception of normal Link, like, Young Link and Toon Link, they both have, like, bombs for, like, combos, but Toon Link's, his fuse is a lot longer than Young Link's. Young Link's does not take very long to explode, which kind of helps him in that sort of vein when he's kind of trying to recover. But for a character like Toon Link, you know, those long, like, fuse times are not going to be helping him out very much when he's, like, off stage. But when he's off stage as a character like Pikachu, if he's just getting, like, beat up off stage, it's like taking, like, multiple, like, back airs, maybe eventually that bomb will go off and kind of just help him get back to stage.
Could certainly be the case here. Gonna watch Wayne Blade come in here. Shenandoah with a new ignited fire, taking the lead over Bowie State here after a very rough start to this crew battle. The Toon Link gonna have to make something happen here versus the Pikachu. Gonna have to hold those stocks.
Right, and we do see just a bit of platform, you know, hugging option coverage from this Toon Link here, and just a lot of these big hitboxes coming out, trying to find some sort of footing against each other, see how these two interact with one another. Good jump option, call out option from Wayne Blade, but unfortunately falling out of the move, and gonna need the bomb in the process, but we do see running back to center stage, kind of just get some more footing, hold center stage, because Toon Link just loves controlling that space.
And these two characters certainly are chip characters. You're not often going to see a really big smash attack from these guys take a stock early. Certainly not after watching a character like Incineroar, where you can simply explode for such few mistakes. Characters like Pikachu and Toon Link, they sometimes have to take their time for their kills. So when you're playing this chip war as Toon Link, it can kind of be tricky, because the more you chip away at this Pikachu, the more he chips away at you. You're the one in the deficit in terms of stocks. So you have to, you know, find these kills quicker than Wayne does. And if you up these straight into a charging smash attack, that's certainly going to be a way the Toon Link can take some stocks.
Yeah, I know. I do love that sort of, like, mystery that the Toon Link bombs have, because the effect that he has, like the colorful, like, smoke cloud. It's hard to see what Toon Link is doing under there, and we still almost got the stock off there, because I think he was trying to do, like, a forward smash while underneath the smoke cloud there, but you do see just holding on to this, you know, this sort of, you know, stock lead from here, only taking, like, one hit in the process during this, like, last stock that Wayne Blade has, struggling to kind of find an opening here, as this defense coming out from this Toon Link is just really nice.
And this is a big scenario here. Can Toon Link make it back to the stage safely and secure a stock onto Wayne Blade before losing his own? Pikachu not having those really big kill moves in this spot that are fast. So Wayne Blade has to be careful. Safely going to the ledge, and that forward air is gonna do it. Huge for Lechonk here to hold the 3 stocks. Gonna force Chiliad to play a straight up game. And that is exactly what Bowie State needed in this crew battle.
Yeah, I mean, not a good look for Shenandoah, right? After just gaining so much momentum from cutting off the Incineroar short, and not getting any more extra credit with the 2 stocks that Wayne Blade had. That is so much momentum that Shenandoah had just lost. And, you know, not to say I'm not confident in Chiliad's ability to take these 3 stocks, but it's definitely going to be a lot harder for her as the anchor position. You know, this is the position that she is known for, but, you know, Wayne Blade having 2 stocks to work off of and not being able to take a single one, that's definitely detrimental for Shenandoah.
Yeah, and I mean, I got to give credit to the Toon Link. He did survive all of the scenarios that he had to. I mean, Pikachu is one of those characters that sometimes you can live a long time versus, similar to Toon Link, but the difference was that the Toon Link was able to find those critical moments where they were able to capitalize and get early stocks. Wayne Blade made a really big error with up being straight into the Toon Link who was charging a smash attack. I mean, that's certainly going to spell a disaster, but also, I mean, falling into that almost max rage forward air at the very end there, that's not going to be a move you can get hit by either. So the smallness of Pikachu was not a problem for this Toon Link, but let's see if a very different matchup like Pyramithra is, because, I mean, although Pikachu very threatening, this character certainly has some specific tools versus Toon Link that may be bothersome to deal with. I'm really curious if we'll see more Pyra in this matchup, perhaps, or if the Mithra is really going to come to play with this Foresight. Really curious for Chiliad's strategy here because it's do or die at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a hard situation for like how like Foresight will interact in this matchup because like usually if the Toon Link is playing very like grounded, so it's like a boomerang, that's just a free Foresight for Mithra, and she just get in instantly with like a dash attack or like an F tilt. But we saw like the Toon Link was doing versus Wayne Blade. He was playing very like platform camp heavy, which kind of just prevented like Wayne Blade from getting like these major like openings from like these forwarders and whatnot. So like it makes me think like the worst that can happen when you are like fighting Mithra is like in that situation is maybe like a nair or like an up air, but like you have to like hard commit to swapping like Pyra because that's when her up air is actually pretty threatening. But at that point you can just react and be like, okay, I'm just gonna play a lot more grounded now. So it's a bit of a hard equation to solve here.
Yeah, but someone's gonna have to do it. It's 3 stocks to 3 stocks, but Shenandoah is the only team with their backs against the wall. Bowie State looking to take this 2-0 here. Certainly don't want to see a Game 3 with how Shenandoah has been performing, but Chiliad gonna have to give them the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, and catching these upbeats out of shield with her upbeat out of shield of her own, and these bombs kind of come out. Using the smoke cloud for like that like the sort of like hidden like, you know, hiding what she's going to do next, like we talked about before, and swapping to the Pyra for the ledge drop. Amazing grab. What's the pressure? Swapping back to Mithra, catching the bomb. Oh, 2-frame with his own bomb. Incredible. Yeah, I love Chiliad's pace right now, just completely controlling the stage. Has to be careful at the ledge here and while off stage. That's certainly going to be Pyra Mithra's most vulnerable position. Toon Link certainly going to struggle while we're on the stage. Hollow Bastion here. A lot of strengths for Aegis on the stage, being able to attack through that middle platform quite easily, and I don't like seeing Chiliad get so ambitious for this kill just yet, because she's doing such a great job in the neutral and outpacing this Toon Link. I would hate to see us get a little bit too ambitious for this kill and lose a bit sight of the end goal. Right, and you know the lead is starting to slip a little bit here. Like we saw, like you said before, Avery, Chiliad maybe a little too desperate for these kills, and none of these moves are quite landing like she wants them to, and the Toon Link is taking good advantage of that, just playing very safe. And minus one that down there we just saw, but the punish was not quite there.
Yeah, Chiliad is just hoping that this Toon Link lands on top of the Pyra Mithra up smash. But I mean, this Toon Link is just not giving it to her. You gotta be careful. Maybe the Pyra stray hit is going to be the answer here, because this Toon Link is just unwilling to land on top of you. And this Toon Link doing such a great job of zoning you out, and the grab gonna take it off the top. A surprise for Chiliad here. Gonna have to claw her way back.
Yeah, maybe not quite the best DI coming out from Chiliad, but there's still a chance here. It just depends how soon can Chiliad take this stock from this Toon Link, but it's not looking quite likely just yet. We're going to see something new with this Pyra. They're not going to quite bite just yet. Toon Link just playing very safe, playing very runaway heavy, and it's working out in dividends. Yeah, and this Pyra is a big threat. Gonna opt off of it back to the Mithra. I mean, if you're just avoiding those aerials from Pyra, then all of a sudden Toon Link has a lot more agency to move around the stage, just try to, get through the speed of Pyra, which is much less than Mithra. Gets the Foresight, but not the punish. Toon Link now at 152%. Now you have to start worrying about max rage. Toon Link, don't get hit by a forward air. That could spell disaster. Up smash, just not gonna hit the short boy of Toon Link. And yeah, now the charge smash attacks are coming out from Chiliad. Desperation is certainly hitting. Yeah, this is not a good look for Shenandoah. This lead that was built up from this game 2 is slowly coming to an end, and we are back to 2 stocks, but Chiliad is at kill percent, and if we've seen anything about how desperate she is to find these kills on these Toon Link, it's hard to see like how many more she can take. Hold this shield the whole way through and get the punish. That's perfect from Chiliad. Gonna win that scenario out, but gonna lose the stock immediately. And now this is not a good spot for Shenandoah, because now this Toon Link is at such a low percent that you gotta build it up. There's no Pyra move that'll just take it outright here. You gotta play the game pretty honestly, and this Toon Link just playing this pepper strategy, throwing these projectiles out, catches the jump with the forward smash. Oh, tries to go for some cheese there. Not quite gonna connect, but you just can't take that much more damage. A little bit too low for the down air up smash, but very, very close. Yeah, and you see a lot of desperation coming out from Chiliad here trying to swing back with Pyra. You know, I can see why it is tempting because of her big hitboxes and her great kill power, but just amazing ledge trapping coming out from this Toon Link. Not going to be quite just yet, but that arrow will do it. Not quite yet, though, because she still has her jump, but, you know, it's now looking over Shenandoah.
Yeah, just another charged forward smash there. Going to be too close to the Toon Link, and Shenandoah will fall to Bowie State 2-0. A myriad of characters coming out from Bowie State, but you got to give it up to them because they threw out all the stops, and Shenandoah could not figure it out. Just too many tricks in the book for them. And although Shenandoah had a lot of really hopeful moments, at the end of the day, just could not handle all of the tricks.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of was what we were expecting after like the end of that game one, right? Just like using those like oddball characters like the Yoshi and the Mario and the Bowser as a way to kind of just throw them off guard for when they come in with their actual mains like the Hero and the Toon Link, and that really did not, you know, go well for Shenandoah, but for Bowie State, I like to say it went really well despite the hiccup they had with the instant roar.
Yeah, and it's such an unfortunate end there because that's exactly what Chiliad wanted. She really wanted to play the Aegis versus the Toon Link, really didn't want to play the Kazuya. But, I mean, the Aegis is new, and at the end of the day, she just doesn't really understand how to kill with Aegis yet. And when you're, I mean, playing against a max rage opponent the whole game, it's really frustrating, right? And so if we can't secure those stocks, then that's going to be hard to come back from. But, I mean, a lot to learn from the Shenandoah squad, and a 4th place finish is certainly nothing to scoff at. I don't think that, Shenandoah Academy should be down on themselves because really a lot of these players are not looking to play Academy again next semester. They're looking to step up and perhaps play at the varsity level. Just with how, players are shaking out here at Shenandoah, we don't quite have the breadth of Smash players that we used to. We have, we can go for a more condensed team. So you probably will end up seeing many of these players return for the spring, but perhaps under a new title. So I know a lot of them are fighting for that right now and going for these kind of adjustments, making sure that you're going for these big plays, like going for characters that you know that you would actually play at the next level. Those kind of things, you have to do it if you want to play, for such a top program like Shenandoah. So it's great to see that from them. And although it's not the result we wanted, still a great match. Just under winning both games. Really, really close.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, if I was the Academy team, I would not feel down in the dumps for that one because, they're still a developing team, especially with this sort of like boot camp that we have going on for them right now, Avery. They still have a lot of these new concepts that were kind of like drill into their brains. And, I understand it's a lot of information that you have to take at once, and that's kind of why we're kind of just spreading it out through this sort of, time period. But like I said, this is a developing team. Chiliad's still doing great with, a character that she's only been playing seriously for maybe like a week and a half.
Yeah, it's incredible, and we'll only see more for them. I hope you guys have enjoyed the Smash Bros. As much as we have. It's not every day that we get to be behind the desk and cast some Smash Bros, Kyle. I know I sure enjoy it, but you're not going to want to miss our next few streams here at Shenandoah. Make sure you keep followed here on Twitch, on YouTube, over on our various social medias because we are going to be hosting the Virginia High School Championships here, and you're not going to want to miss the high-level Super Smash Bros. At least League of Legends, I know they do.
Yeah, I think it's Smashing League.
Yeah, I don't think they're doing Rocket League this semester, but you're not going to want to miss any of the action. Virginia's best. Who knows? Some of them may end up at Shenandoah University. Wayne Blade out there, participating in VHSL and in our LAN tournaments here. So you never know what you're going to see at a tournament like that. So make sure you're staying followed here, and we will see you in the next broadcast. But I've been Avery. This is Kyle. Thank you so much for watching.
Shenandoah University is a big little university rising.
With 22 Division III sports teams, over 200 areas of study,
over 300 annual performances, an elite academic esports program,
Nationally ranked health professions programs, one of the biggest university presences on Broadway,
immersive AR and VR learning programs,
cybersecurity and computer science programs, and innovative undergrad and graduate programs.
all at a place that cares for you.
Shenandoah University is the big little university rising. Find out more at su.edu/rising.
We have the Esports Arena right here on campus in Winchester, Virginia, and this facility acts as the hub for all esports activity at Shenandoah University. Students are able to use this space not just for competition and practices, but also as a living learning community and a sandbox for them to come and explore and practice and try out things related to and through esports in the gaming industry so that they're getting that hands-on learning and the skills necessary to help them find a career by the time they graduate. We also have the professional level broadcast production booth where we do all of our broadcasting and production, from casting of our games that we play right here on campus to working with outside entities to record footage for them as well. In addition to the space that we have here in the Esports Arena is the Esports War Room. Our students get to use that space for studying, but also outside projects. So our students get to use this space for professional development and the academic side of our esports program, which is such a critical component to go with that competitive element that we have. So we combine all of our facilities at Shenandoah University with competition, community, and career preparation. We have over 250 days of programming, and there's something for everybody, and we want you to be part of it.